was definitely kind of a flashback to Wimbledon for me. Have had some problems with that part of my leg. So it was kind of an overwhelming moment, and it was kind of scary. But luckily was able to catch it before I did any real damage to it. And luckily the painkillers and adrenaline in the end kind of helped me get through it.
I played well. I felt I had to. It's good to finally get past the quarterfinals or the fourth round, and gosh, it's been so long.
I don't feel pressure by defending the title, because I don't come here to defend it. I come here as a new challenge, a new Grand Slam. That's how I start the tournament. I'm really happy to be already in the semi-final, to play that well so far.
See, I'm gonna play Stan, who is a defending champion here, and we played 5 sets matches in 2013 and 14 in Australian Open. So I'm gonna be ready for the fight, but it never gets old being in the last 4. Obviously people around you think that this is something that is normal from a top player to reach that final stage, and you're expected to perform well and reach semi-finals or Grand Slam. But I try to enjoy every moment and work hard for what I have.
A very good morning, everyone, and welcome to semi-final day here at Melbourne Park. We are certainly getting close now to the business end. A big quarter-final day, as you saw there with some of the images. Welcome to everyone who is in the precinct, who are queuing up outside the gates, and for all of you viewing our pitches right around the world. We're excited, Kel, because we're going to determine today some of the players who will be in the final, certainly on the girls' side, and one of the men's semi-finals to be played tonight. Good morning to you. It's exciting.
It is super exciting, and to think that we started with 250-odd players going back, 10, 11 days ago. 128 in the men's draw, 128 in the women's draw, and we're down to the final 4 on both sides. And a little later this afternoon, in a few hours' time, the finalists will be decided for the women's blockbuster, of course, that decided to be played here on Saturday night. And the good news is that we've got still the 2 best players in the world in the women's draw, and everything is pointing to an absolute classic showdown between Maria Sharapova and Serena Williams. But we're just getting a little ahead of ourselves there.
Yeah, certainly on paper. And I suppose one of the talking points heading in today is going to be the recovery of Madison Keys. She got over Venus Williams yesterday, hurt her left abductor. We saw it strapped up. She had painkillers throughout the match. Having played her quarterfinal yesterday, hasn't got as long to back up. So that'll be interesting. She's had an outstanding tournament, 19 years of age, but gee, the mood that Serena Williams was in yesterday in dispensing of Dominika Cibulkova, I'd imagine Serena's going to be in that frame of mind today to get on top very, very early and maybe take advantage of the fact that Keys mightn't be 100% fit.
Well, Serena has almost timed her run to perfection. She was all out of sorts at the Hopman Cup going back 2-3 weeks ago, lost to Bouchard and lost to Radwanska for the first time ever, and needed the double espresso just to get herself going. She looked jet lagged, not just for the first match, but for the entire week in Perth. Scratchy here to start with, sluggish, has dropped the opening set not once but twice in her early round matches. But suddenly, business end, as you always call it, Brett, and she had the business face on against Dominika Cibulkova. And she was all over in just over an hour, because Serena was in a murderous mood and she didn't waste any time conserving all that energy, ready to back up again today. The only concern is she has been coughing and spluttering sort of for the last 24 to 48 hours, but there's always drama surrounding Serena Williams, and this just adds to the element of it. We never exactly know what's going on, but that's all part of the Serena show. She likes it like that. She never ever gives us an insight into the Serena world, because that's the way she likes it. So she's certainly looking in the goods. And you talk about Madison Keys, it's going to be tough to back up 24 hours later. If we rewind 12 months ago, remember Agnieszka Radwanska came out in the quarters and knocked Azarenka out, played the best match probably of her career, made it through to the semi-finals. The next day, pretty sure it was against Cibulkova, flat.
Yep.
Flat Stanley. Had absolutely nothing to give and just went out meekly. So let's hope that's not the case today with young Madison Keys, because she has been described as the next big thing in women's tennis.
Well, it is the Grand Slam that so often unearths a new player. We saw it 2 years ago with Sloane Stephens at 19. We saw it with Eugenie Bouchard at 19. So the third 19-year-old in a row to make the semi-finals on the women's side of the draw, which is great for the game because we like to see emerging players coming through. It would be a big effort, but every time we've underestimated Madison Keys in this tournament, she keeps delivering. So who knows what's going to happen, but she'd need to get on top, need to make a statement very early in the match today, otherwise Serena will smell blood.
Well, and look, she's playing loose. She's got nothing to lose. She's got Lindsay Davenport in her corner, who's played the Williams sisters more than anyone else out there on tour. She's already played her idol in Venus to back up the next day. Must be pinching herself now against arguably the greatest female tennis player of all time. They've never played each other before. And I think the important thing that's probably giving Madison a lot of confidence is it's hard to earn the respect of the Williams sisters on tour. And it sounds like that Madison Keys has got the respect of the Williams sisters, and the way that they've spoken in the last 24 hours, when they eventually leave the sport, they're more than happy to hand the baton on to Madison Keys.
Well, let's hear from Serena and her thoughts post-match as she heads into another semi-final here at Melbourne Park.
I felt I played well. I felt I had to. I feel like when you're going up a player like her who's very confident on the court, she had a good few matches. I knew that I needed to really play well or go home.
How are you feeling right now? I can hear a little bit of raspiness.
Well, I felt better, but I'm feeling okay. I mean, I'm just happy to still be in the tournament, but I definitely have a little raspy voice, but hopefully I'll get better.
What is it? Is it a sore throat or achiness or?
Well, I've been sick the past few days, and it's just getting worse and worse. But hopefully it'll start getting better.
This kind of the virus at the Melbourne Park. I've heard that Varvara Lepchenko is in the hospital.
Oh.
Varvara Lepchenko.
Yeah, I heard that too just today, actually. So, yeah, I heard it's like a virus going around with a lot of the players, and I think I caught it, so.
Serena, you were pressing behind the net and then you were trying to do some mystical stuff. Was it kind of magic or what?
Well, I'm not involved in mystics or magic, nor have I ever went to Hogwarts, but, so no, every player is quirky and every player has some things that they do.
Serena, can you talk about Keys?
What do you want? She's playing great. I told her I was really happy that she did well, and she's in the semis, and it's good to see another African American in the semifinals playing so well. Regardless, there's going to be an American in the finals, so that is great. And it also is great for both me and Venus because we know that finally there's other Americans that are constantly playing well and playing better and showing that they want to be the world's greatest.
Is it a relief for you that you don't have to play Venus in the semis?
I don't know. I think I always root for Venus. But at the same time, she's a very difficult player to play. She beat me the last time we played, and it was a really long match. So I don't know. I mean, I can't say it's a relief because Madison has a big serve and a huge forehand, and she's improved leaps and bounds. So it's going to be a tough match for me.
Serena Williams giving us her thoughts there. Post-match into another semi-final. Every time she's won here at Melbourne Park. Well, she's never been runner-up, Kel. So every time she's got to a semi-final, she's gone on to win the tournament.
So you're saying records and history says Serena's going to win it on Saturday night?
When she gets to this stage, she doesn't like to lose.
I like that stat, and I'm happy to back her in.
Can have the stumbles prior, but once she gets to a semi-final, we'll see what unfolds today. What an imposing record. 264 wins, 39 losses at Grand Slam level.
And not jumping ahead or anything like that, but if we get to Saturday night and it's the two best players in the world, Serena has had 16 wins and Maria's had 2, and of course the last one Maria had was 2004 Wimbledon champs when Sharapova was just 16. That's over a decade ago.
Well,
so imagine the hype for that.
Maybe it's a tournament where those things can be broken. We saw it with Berdych against Nadal the other day. I think it was 17 in a row. So who knows? Fascinating script to be written. Let's talk some juniors with Mark Edney, because the good news for Australia is that 2 of our boys are still alive. Good morning, Mark.
Good morning.
Quarter-final action, that's the good story. Mark Polmans, who I have been watching very quietly, and Akira Sanderland, who's got one of the best backhands I've seen of a young player, but that's the good news, they're still here.
Yeah, both playing quarterfinals today. So Mark had a fantastic win yesterday, plays Roman Saful, a #1 seed here at Melbourne Park. Mark played him twice last year, once in Milan on the clay courts and at the US Open. So he's looking forward to it. I think we had a chat with Mark last night and he's looking forward to playing a really aggressive game today. And Akira plays Ducky Lee from Korea. Now, Ducky Lee's a fantastic story because he's actually deaf. So, right? Yeah, he is. So he's one of the first deaf athletes, in, especially in the junior sport. And obviously has to use a lot of his other senses to really understand the game. You might have seen on a few of the ANZ commercials, he's one of the boys with Novak Djokovic and Anna, who's one of the little Hot Shots girls. So yeah, a great opportunity for Aki. It's going to be a tough match for both boys, but again, they're still here. So only a couple more matches and they might make it to Rod Laver Arena.
So tough ask for Mark Polmans, as you mentioned, up against the top seed from Russia. Tell us a little bit about him, because it's almost an all-Russian day here today. We've got the 2 women's semi-finalists and Makarova and Sharapova, 2 Russians going toe-to-toe.
Yeah, so Fulton's, he's developed well in the last 18 months. Tall boy, plays very flat and very aggressive up in the court. He took some time off last year over the Grand Slams to finish school, which is quite good and quite impressive. So he obviously values his education. But over the last 18 months, his improvement's gone through the roof. And again, he's making his way onto the ATP Tour as well.
So we lost the Australian girls yesterday, but some of them are still alive. There's some doubles action for the boys and the girls. What about just the girls' side? We talk about the #1 seed there from Russia. What about the girls' side and who's still left?
Yeah, so actually Coco Zhu from China lost yesterday to Katie Swan, one of the young girls out of Great Britain. Mikhailova, who beat Sarah Tomic yesterday, still going. So there's still some really good talent in the girls coming through. Again, the big seeds have gone down, so it's really an open draw.
And Dylan Alcott, we were talking about him yesterday, and we talked him up, and he had a big win.
He did. He won in straight sets yesterday against Andy Lapthorne from Great Britain. So how the quad draw works is that the 2 winners of both, because it's a round robin pool, both winners will play each other. So today, Dylan will play David Wagner, who's the #1 player in the world. So you've got the world #2 and the world #1 going toe-to-toe in the quad draw.
Yeah, outstanding. If you've got a Grand Pass, great value. Go and see the 2 Aussies playing the quarterfinals, and the wheelchair event, of course. The ATL is all wrapped up. That was a fantastic event this week. So plenty for those who want to get out and see just some of the action away from Rod Laver Arena.
Oh, it certainly is, and the site's absolutely buzzing at the moment, and we've got a lot of tennis on site with wheelchairs, with quads, with juniors, and look, and even our different activation piece. I think we've got Disney moving in the next couple of days into Hisense Arena, so there's a lot out there for everybody, for families, for just coming in to watch the tennis. There's a lot going on.
And a couple of decent names are playing in the Legends that are rather familiar to us as well.
Yeah, they certainly are.
Still going okay, mate.
It was really funny. I saw Todd yesterday and he said, I can't believe how well I played the other night. So, no, look, it's fantastic to see the Legends out there. I mean, they're such a great part of our tennis history. And any chance that we can get to see them competing again, it just brings back great memories.
Terrific. Thanks, Mark. Enjoy the day. Mark Edney all
Pleasure.
over the juniors. Quarter-final day for Mark Polmans, Akira Sanderland from an Australian perspective. Johnny Hoovenars with a wrap of a big day 10. Let's rewind.
A fine day in Melbourne turned into a pleasant evening at Melbourne Park as the nighttime crowd arrived for the conclusion of quarterfinals action. With 3 of the 4 men's quarters already decided, it was left to Novak Djokovic and Milos Raonic to battle it out for the 1 remaining spot in the semis. The first set was a titanic struggle between 2 powerhouses of the game. The Canadian produced twice the winners of the serve, but also committed twice the unforced errors. In a first set tiebreaker, Djokovic took the upper hand early and increased his lead to bring up 3 set points. A favourable line call went the way of Raonic as he saved 2 of 3 set points, but a 19th unforced error for the set allowed Djokovic to claim the set 6-3. It didn't take long for the world number 1 to make inroads on the Raonic serve in the second set, and he consistently denied him even a single break point. With the Canadian unwilling to alter his game plan, Djokovic held him at arm's reach and served out the second set in just 33 minutes. Raonic did well to hold serve in the opening game of the third set, but he was convincingly broken in the third game and again 2 games later to find himself on the brink of elimination. Throughout the match, Djokovic never looked like losing as he steamrolled Raonic in exactly 2 hours. The 4-time champion through to his 5th Australian Open semi-final and his 25th appearance in the last 4 at Grand Slams. Next up on Rod Laver Arena, Martina Hingis teamed up with Leander Paes to tackle Andrea Hlavakova and Alexander Paya in the mixed doubles quarter-final. Hingis and Paes found themselves in trouble at 2-love down in the first set, but with some clever teamwork and individual moments of brilliance, they won 6 of the next 7 games to prevail in the first set 6-3. The fourth seeds continued to hold the ascendancy in the second set, going up an early break, and then extending their lead to record a resounding straight sets win and book their spot in the semi-final.
2 sets in a row, 6-3, 6-1.
Thank you, Johnny Hoovenars. A big wrap of day 10. Just before we get on with the schedule, obviously some great highlights there of Martina Hingis and Leander Paes. And I was watching that closely last night. Martina looks fit, still very sharp. But I'd love to see her still get out in the singles circuit, Kel.
Well, I reckon I was talking about that the other day, thinking a few of us having a chat as to whether she could pinch a set here or there if she did play on the WTA tour still these days. She looks sharp, she looks fit, she's still got those beautiful soft hands, particularly at the net. It's probably the power that would do her over in the end, and it almost forced her out of the game a little early, didn't it, when the Williams sisters came along, Sharapova, and just all this power and grunt tennis.
And Leander Paes this year is looking to play with his 100th different partner, and the person he's got in mind is Novak Djokovic. Now, when that will unfold, we're not quite sure, but this year at the Australian Open he's played with his 99th partner, and just a couple of his shots there, you can see why he's had great longevity in men's doubles. One of the great characters, I think he's plus 40 now, still going strong, Leander Paes. So there you go, some good action last night. Kel, what a big day on Rod Laver Arena. We've got some men's doubles semi-final action, and then of course the 2 big women's semis coming up.
Yes, we kick it off with the men's doubles semis, as you mentioned. It's the Italian duo Simone Bolelli and Fabio Fognini, and well, they're they're actually an entertaining duo, aren't they? You never know what will happen when the Italians play, and of course a spot for the men's finals up for grabs that will be played later on the weekend. And then it's all about women's semi-final afternoon. We're down to the final 4. We kick it off with the all-Russian affair, Ekaterina Makarova against Maria Sharapova. Now, Makarova has never beaten Maria from their 5 matches. Makarova, the 11th seed, and Sharapova, the 2nd seed, and Maria will start the overwhelming favourite for that one. And then it's the all-American blockbuster, Serena Williams against Madison Keys. Now, Madison will go into this one, and Lindsay, her coach, Lindsay Davenport, would have explained to her, Serena in the last few years, this is who she's lost to. She's lost to Anna Ivanovic, she's lost to Sloane Stephens, and she's lost to Makarova in the last 3 years. So there is hope there, and if Madison Keys was to get up, that would be one of the upsets of this year. So anything's possible, Brett, as we turn to tonight's action.
Looking forward to it. From 7:30 tonight, Andy Murray's been a 3-time runner-up at the Australian Open, so he's aiming for his 4th final here at Melbourne Park. Thomas Berdych into back-to-back semi-finals. He's the one trying to make the breakthrough. He's a little bit older, 29 years of age, Thomas. We've been highlighting here on the morning show, of course, the change of coach going in and taking part of the Andy Murray camp with him this year, Thomas. And look, he's looked magnificent. He comes off an unbelievable win against Rafael Nadal, which I imagine will just boost his confidence tenfold. And tonight, going to be absolutely fascinating. I think we've got probably 4 sets, but in saying that, Kel, the way Andy Murray's played, it would not surprise me if Andy won in straight. but they might be 3 pretty deep sets. But going to be some fireworks tonight. Thomas hits the ball as pure as anyone. We know Andy's defensive capabilities. It's going to be a terrific match.
He just clubs the ball, doesn't he, Thomas Berdych? And he's so big and strong, and he almost out-muscled Rafael Nadal the other day on centre court, which you very rarely see or you very rarely say. But and it's not just the storyline on the court. There's an intriguing battle that's happening in the coach's box as well. The backstory, obviously, Andy Murray split with his long-time hitting partner, mate, and coach as well in Danny Valverde. And, of course, they've been together and seen the success of the 2 Grand Slam wins because he picked Amelie Mauresmo as his full-time coach. And so then Danny Valverde has taken a call from Thomas Berdych, and it's only been a few months. And just talking to a few people from the world media in and around Rod Laver Arena, there is a bit of tension between the 2 camps. So that's just going to be a fascinating tactical duel, not only in the coach's box, but also what happens out on Rod Laver Arena.
Yeah, well, Danny, a part of Andy Murray's camp for a long time, and Andy's gone through lots of different coaches, and Ivan Lendl prior to that, and Miles McLagan for quite some time. So Danny was always there as part of Team Murray, and now he gets his opportunity to step up as a coach in his own right with a guy who is so desperate to win at least 1 Grand Slam title. So going to be fascinating.
And imagine what he's telling Thomas, because he knows Andy's game probably better than Andy knows his own game. So he'll be in the ear of Thomas Berdych, and he'll know exactly what tactics to bring to this. Having said that, Amelie Mauresmo, obviously the new coach of Andy Murray, and some credit to her as well, because what Murray's been able to do here in the last, 11 days has been nothing short of sensational, and he was just red hot against Nick Kyrgios the other night.
Absolutely. Let's get a bit more of an insight into Murray and Berdych coming up tonight.
I mean, you've had success against Andy in the past, obviously, but how will it be different working with a former member of your opponent's team?
Well, I mean, definitely it's might be an advantage for us, but that's how it is. And what is more important is again to be prepared for that match, to be ready to set up the plan and try to execute them on the court.
I don't really want to talk about what Danny's strengths and weaknesses are. I'm happy to talk about Berdych and what his strengths and weaknesses are, but I don't want to discuss what Danny does well and doesn't do well, because like I said, I'm not playing against him.
Really, the preparation is exactly the same like for all my past opponents so far here, and I'm not gonna change anything else with that, and just try to focus on my things and keep going for it.
My goal isn't to beat Danny, my goal is to beat Berdych, so I don't think about that in the next few days. I also know what Danny thinks of Berdych's game, because he's told me, so it works both ways.
The Kia Cerato has surprised many of Australia's leading journalists since its launch. Paul Gover from Cars Guide said the Cerato hatch is the new Kia we've been waiting for and another surefire winner. And Tim Weissman from caradvice.com.au said the all-new Cerato is packed with the latest technology. The Kia Cerato hatch. It surprised the motoring experts. And with Australia's only 7-year unlimited kilometre factory warranty, it will surprise you too.
Join the rally for good. The more people we get involved, the more money we raise for a good cause. Ready? Keep the rally going by posting your shot your way using hashtag #RallyForGood. Your game, your way.
We are all made by something. People, places, and passions help shape us into who we are.
The biggest fight I had in my life was actually the fight within.
Novak Djokovic, birthed from Serbia, shaped by Jelena, inspired by dreams, made by determination. Jacobs Creek, made true.
Why this watch? This watch has witnessed the magic of Melbourne.
the promise of a new season and a Grand Slam's most ardent fans. It's seen a national hero become a legend. The epic endured. And a 4-time champion crowned. It doesn't just tell time, it tells history.
Optus called me up and they said, hey, would you like to be in a commercial that talks about the word yes? They said it's about how we're going to be saying a lot more of it. Can I come up with some stuff? And they said yes. And I said I want it on a tropical beach. And they said yes. Gigantic kitten. I want to dance with some beautiful people. And they said yes. Let's shoot it in Antarctica. And they said yes. Fireworks, skydiving Elizabethans, a muffin. And I said what? All of this in the one earth? And they said yes.
Mount Franklin, pure feel good.
What's the best thing about being a mum on tour? I think the best thing is just definitely having my family on the road, and Blake is a great distraction from me when, you know, I've finished at the end of the day and I go home, and if I've lost or I've won, it doesn't matter. He's there and he needs to be looked after, and we've kept every one of his boarding passes since he was born. We've travelled with him since he was 12 weeks old, so, you know, he's already been to the Eiffel Tower and already done so many things that not many 17-month-old, year-old little boys would have done before, so I think that's pretty cool. What do you miss about home when travelling? I miss just being able to nip down to the beach to have a little bit of a swim, and I miss my family, obviously, and just the little things about being at home, you know, making a cup of tea and sitting on the couch. Show us your victory dance moves. Okay, well, I get paid out a little bit at home because I only really pull out one dance move, which is like that, and I'm not very good at it, so I'm not going to do any more. You're known for your tennis. Tell us something we don't know about you. Well, I actually am a qualified beauty therapist. When I was out injured, I did my certificate in beauty therapy, so yeah, I don't travel with my wax pots or anything, but I am qualified to do it. What's your nickname? Yeah, I pretty much just get Case a lot. A lot of people call me Del or CD or Case. Show us your best selfie face. Oh, in terms of selfie faces, I'm just a big smiler. I don't try and do any pouts or anything like that. I feel like as a mum and that I'm a bit past all that, so I just like a good smile. Sing us a line of your national anthem. Australians, all let us rejoice, for we are young and free. Did you have a teddy bear as a child? And do you still have it? No, I was never a teddy bear person. I remember having a Cabbage Patch doll, which probably a lot of young girls remember those days, but I actually loved my footy, and I had a Sharon football that I used to have. Where will you be in 20 years? Not really too complicated. I like the simple life, so I'll probably just be with family, either in Sydney or Perth, and just been enjoying life pretty much. Yeah.
Casey Dellacqua in the Kia Open Drive. We've enjoyed the Kia Open Drive. We learned a few things, Kel, about the players.
We certainly have, and the tournament now officially over for Casey Dellacqua because she lost in the mixed doubles last night, unfortunately, and teamed up with Japan's veteran Kamiko Date-Krum in the women's doubles and got knocked out early there as well, unfortunately, and of course lost in the second round to Madison Keys, which is nothing to be ashamed of, because Madison Keys, it just proves how powerful she's been playing. She's all the way through to the semi-finals.
Yep. I think we'll probably see the best of Casey as the year rolls along. Coming off such a great year last year, slower start this year, looking to build some momentum, but hopefully she can keep her spot around that top 30 in women's tennis, because she deserves to stay there, Kel, after all the work she did to get
hard
there.
Work, yeah, definitely, and she's got a lot of rankings points to defend this year, so let's hope she does hit the road. I know they're off to the Fed Cup in Germany, I think it is, this weekend. And after that, it'll be just zoning in on the individual career, and let's hope she can back up what was a really breakthrough year at the age of 29 last year on tour.
The legends, we've enjoyed having them around. We see them wandering through the corridors. We've seen them out on the show courts. They're here playing, commentating, still very much part of the game. I imagine if you're a tennis player and you stop playing, it's been very hard for the vast majority of them just to totally walk away from the game, and a lot of them have stayed involved, whether it's coaching, commentating, playing, still some legends. They love it.
I think it says a lot about the current, where the sport sits at the moment, right across the world, the fact that these legends still want to remain involved. They still love the sport, and the sport's flying with the likes of Roger Federer and Novak Djokovic. I mean, these are Serena Williams, they're global superstars. So once they've retired, they just can't help but want to stay involved, whether it be in the coaching box or whether getting out there and still playing, having a hit with their mates. You know, lots of camaraderie on the tour, and the fact that the fans still love it as well. So it's just all good signs for the sport. It's all positive.
Have a look at this
I don't
stuff
think it's
yesterday.
all serious.
Well, it was actually one of the matches yesterday. They put the rackets away and they were playing soccer, basically. It was one of the best rallies, and the foot skills were as good as with racket in hand. Henri Leconte. Now, you couldn't play a serious match with Henri these days.
No, you could not at all. This is just absolute stupidity and silliness, isn't it? But fans are enjoying it.
And Henri Leconte, yes, he's still the showman all these years on. Turned into one of the most colourful commentators these days, but can still hit a pretty mean tennis ball. And everyone was getting involved. Pat Cash, he's still got the same headband from the great Wimbledon
he's still
triumph.
Fit, Pat, isn't he? He looks super fit.
Yep.
So doesn't look a day older from that Wimbledon victory all those years ago.
Well, one of the legends that's here is Thomas Johansson. He won the Australian Open back in 2002, and he doesn't look much older, to be totally honest. He still looks pretty sharp. He caught up with Todd Woodbridge on his return to Melbourne.
Well, I've got Thomas Johansson with me, the 2002 Australian Open champion. He's here for the first time to come back and play the Australian Open Big Mac Legends Tournament. Thomas, welcome, and mate, we are so happy that you are back down under and back out on the blue courts.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here as well. It's a dream to come back, and this year I brought the family as well, so I have a lot of fun here.
What is it like to be called a legend, and did you ever think you would be put in that category?
No, I don't think so. But it's good to be a living legend, though.
Yes, it is.
But
I think there's plenty more life left in you too.
It's a lot of fun to come back. I have nice memories from here, and this year to play the legends, I have a great partner, Jonas Björkman. So
he's a pretty good partner.
He is a pretty good partner, and you had some experience with him in the past.
I quite liked playing with him.
No, it's a lot of fun. We played some Davis Cup matches together, and we are best friends. So it's a lot of fun to go to Australia and to be able to play the legends together.
Now, if you had an opportunity to play against any all-time legend in our game, who would that be?
Well, it will not be you, because you killed me.
Well, I'm not a legend, so it doesn't matter.
Well, my idol was Mats Wilander. I never had the chance to play.
You didn't play Mats?
No, I never played against him. But I was practicing with him first time when I was 17 years old, and for me it was like a dream come true, because over my bed I had a picture of me and Mats when I was I think I was 9 years old when he played Davis Cup, very close to my hometown. And that picture just, followed me through my whole career.
This is from @Kira SJ. What other legends do you have in your phone contact list? You got Roger in there or anybody like that?
Yes, I have Roger. And he is a legend, but he doesn't play with us, thank God.
Yeah, thank God. Well, I think you've got the number one legend in the phone book. There you go. And lastly, from Lau89, who had the weirdest superstitions on the tour back in your day?
I think all the players, they have some...
Well, what about yourself? Did you have some weird superstition?
Yes, I did. I always tied my shoes on the court. I always used the same shower. So if someone was in the shower that time when I came in, I had to wait.
Let's now talk about your legendary moment, and it doesn't get any bigger here at the Australian Open. The champion back in 2002, you came out and you played really one of the best tournaments, and if not the best final that you could possibly have dreamed of when you defeated Marat Safin.
I played Sydney the week before, and I played so bad. And I said to my coach, I want to go home. So I actually wanted to go home, and my coach said, no, now we're going to work really hard and try to prepare for, the Australian Open. And I started off quite slow. I didn't play as as well as I wanted, but then especially second week I played better and better. And I think the final against Safin was the best match I played ever.
What was the feeling like at match point when you've won the tournament?
I was just shocked, and I didn't realize. I don't think I realized until the next morning when me and my wife, we had breakfast, and I took up the newspaper and I saw my face on each and every newspaper around the world. So, and that's why I realized, that I've accomplished something really, really big.
You had quite a funny little story about transportation on the day of the final of that match against Marat Safin.
Yes, I was close to not getting into the arena because my coach at that time, Magnus Tideman, he totally forgot to book a transportation for that day. We took a taxi. To the final, and they didn't want to let us in. But after a little bit of discussion, we managed to get into the arena. And we had a good day.
Well, that is a legendary moment for sure. Well, Thomas, thank you so much for joining us. We look forward to your moments out on court.
Thank you.
Thomas Johansson, winner back in 2002. I always love the backstory, Cal. There's always one.
That's amazing, isn't it? He nearly didn't get in on the day of the final because his coach forgot to book transportation. Against Marat Safin, 2002, an unlikely winner, but one that certainly stands out. And of course, the big Russian Marat Safin, 3 years later, finally got there at the expense of Leighton Hewitt.
He did, a decade ago. Imagine if he had to just jump on the tram if there was no cabs. He's the guy going off to the final of the Australian Open. He's in action today, Margaret Court Arena. So if you haven't seen the beautiful new Margaret Court Arena, you've got the ground pass, get in there, have a look, because Thomas and Jonas Bjorkman from Sweden taking on Michael Chang and Wayne Ferreira. There are 4 big names from the past. So go and park yourself courtside, 11 o'clock. The first match will start, and then that will follow some men's doubles just before that.
And they can all still hit a tennis ball, and it's entertaining stuff. So get out there, as you mentioned, you can get in for free with your ground pass, and even just check out Margaret Court Arena. It's been one of the big talking points for this Grand Slam this year with the new retractable roof. We've barely had to use it, I think only the once.
The weather has been superb, Kel. Absolute weatherman's dream.
Well, currently about 16, 17 degrees, and we're heading for a maximum of 24 today. So this superb Melbourne weather continues, and very, very different to last year when we saw that extreme heat wave.
We'll take a little break. Keep an eye on the big screens. The gates are going to open shortly. We're about, just over an hour away from semi-final day, starting some doubles, and then we get into the 2 big women's matches from 1:30 this afternoon. Stick around, plenty to come.
Let me flip this script. I feel privileged for all who can witness this. I am close to divine. Know the moment is mine, need no omen or sign. Oxbridge, providing a back sound to all the squares that ask around. Be getting it, my skills pay me. Trying to get $1 million, baby, with an adopted flow that God gave me. Nino, tell whoever runners that they spot is temporary till I take it as mine. I'm selfish, your will. Tell Miss I'm on my wealth tip. So when we cash out soon, I'm just investing. No yes men, I've been a legend since before mom and dad had me and was best friends. I chew through comp, don't test them. I chew on tracks, cause after that I bless them. I just do what I do.
At Medibank, we've made getting to the gym a little bit easier by rolling 3 major gym memberships into one. Gym Better gives you access to Fitness First, Anytime Fitness and Good Life Health Club networks nationwide for just $8.50 a visit. With no contracts and no joining fees, a Medibank membership is the only gym membership you'll need. Changing the way we go to the gym, all part of Generation Better. Call or search Medibank today.
Hello tomorrow.
Game, set, Maxis.
How about your past three matches been against 3 really big service, Raonic, the biggest of the lot?
Yes, very pleased with the performance tonight. I thought, under the circumstances, was the best match so far for Australian Open 2015 for me. In the right moment, I definitely raised the level of performance, and in the right moment, as I said, against one of the established top 10 players, young stars that obviously has powerful game from back of the court, especially with the forehand and his serve. The key tonight was to get as many balls back in play, and I've done very well.
You say the key was to get as many balls back in play as possible, but it seems to me, and we spoke about this earlier in the week, that your serve becomes more of a weapon with every match that you play. Is that a deliberate game plan, something you're working on with Boris?
Well, during the tournament, you don't have too much time to work, only in one element in your game. Obviously, before the tournament, where you're building up your game, that's where you practice hard. But during the tournament, you're just kind of trying to keep the rhythm, to hit the ball in between the days between the matches, just to have that, I would say, specific good feeling about striking the ball the way you want it, and that's what we work on. Obviously, serve is an advantage if you can get many free points, and that's what I had during the last 10 days in this tournament, and it encourages me definitely to swing through on the return games, try to step in, and because knowing that I have at least 1 or 2 free points in my series games gives me that mental advantage and edge over my opponent.
Stan Wawrinka, semi-final up next. You know more than most what a danger he can be, particularly here in Melbourne.
Yes, 2 5-setters last 2 years. I'm ready for the big fight. There's no question about it. He's playing some great tennis. He's playing last 2 years tennis, the best tennis of his life. He was number 3 of the world. He won a Grand Slam. He's a defending champion here. Won a Davis Cup. So, yeah, he's one of the players to beat in this event, and I'm looking forward to that.
The world number 1 top seed Novak Djokovic talking after his quarterfinal win last night against Milos Raonic. Tough first set tiebreaker, got the breaker serve, started the second, got the breaker serve in the third game of the third. He was on his way, Novak. It was clinical, it was flawless. He's had a great tournament so far, and he's the man to beat.
He just did enough to get the job done. You said the word there, clinical, Brett. That's exactly what it was. Didn't even have to bare the teeth at all, and we might see that maybe against Stan Wawrinka in the semi. But into his 25th but his 25th Grand Slam semi-final. What about this for a stat? He only needed the 2 hours exactly to dispose of Milos Raonic, but he has held 52 consecutive times. So when he's had the serve broken just once this tournament, yet to drop a set, he is in cruise control. But the scary thought is that we know Novak can just crank up a gear or two, and no doubt he will in the semis against Stan. And the history there over the last 2 years, we were talking about it before.
Well, I think it's 16-3 overall, but the last 2, they've split them. They've been epics here at the Australian Open. So that was the matchup I think we were sort of hoping for as tennis fans on Friday night. And Wawrinka's sort of gone through, not unnoticed, he's had some tough games, tiebreakers and so forth, but he's only played, the first time on Rod Laver against Nishikori yesterday. Let's get the thoughts of Stan Wawrinka. He got through in straight sets, how he's going to approach Friday night.
Dan, considering the match that you and Kay had in New York last year, not many people were expecting today to be straight sets. Were you one of those people?
I was expecting a tough one, for sure. I wasn't ready for a straight set. I was expecting a difficult match, especially against Kay. He's a tough player to play in Grand Slam. You never know what's going to happen. But I'm happy the way I was playing today. I had to show that I was ready to stay the aggressive player, to serve well and to be there.
And your run this year is starting to bear a lot of similarities to last year, winning in Chennai, the way you're progressing through the draw. Does memories of last year give you a big confidence boost, potentially going into another matchup with Novak Djokovic in the semis?
It doesn't give me more confidence for this year. It's a new year for sure. I had a great start winning Chennai. I'm playing well since the beginning of the tournament. I'm playing better tennis, but we all improved during 1 year. It's a new challenge what's coming now. I'm really happy to be again in the semi-final. That's something really important for me, but I'm expecting a really tough battle.
And just finally, players can take a little while to adjust to the status of being a Grand Slam champion. Has it taken coming back here, being the defending champion and everything that goes along with that, for you to really become comfortable with that status?
Yeah, it took me a few months for me after winning here, but I had a still amazing year last year, finishing with a Davis Cup trophy with Switzerland, and I had a big preparation. I start really well again. Winning the first tournament gave me a lot of confidence on my game, and I'm happy the way I'm playing, and that's the most important during the year. I need to focus on my game, to focus on the practice hard, trying to improve, and if I do that, I know that I have a chance to have some great results.
Well, best of luck for the semi-final.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Stan Wawrinka reflecting on his win against Kei Nishikori yesterday. Certainly got through the first 2 sets very comfortably, and then Nishikori had just that little chance to try and win the third. He wasn't going to go away. He was going to fight tooth and nail, but Stan got the job done, Kelly. One man who has been analysing all the action, AO analyst Craig O'Shannessy, has been good enough to join us at the desk, because those who have been watching the big screens and our live stream each day, Craig's been giving his real nous, I suppose, to the matches tactically and just really breaking it down. Craig, welcome, and we've really enjoyed the breakdown. For the tennis fans out there who probably don't realise how matches unfold and how opposition players work out opposition players. There's a lot of analysis that goes into it.
There really is. You know, I like to think of tennis, you've got four main components. You've got serving, returning, rallying and approaching, and each one of those has higher percentage patterns that you want to gravitate to, but you've also got to plug in the patterns that work against each opponent, so it can change, can even change set to set. So looking at those is a critical component of the tournament.
Now, you've written an in-depth preview into one of the women's semi-finals that we're going to see today. Serena Williams, of course, against Madison Keys, and you can read that preview on the Australian Open website. I found it fascinating.
Thank you.
I think everyone thinks Serena will just do this in straight sets, but Madison Keys can beat her in certain areas. What we do know is that it's going to be big serving. It features the two biggest serves in the tournament. Serena has served the 57 aces, Madison the 30. Apart from that, where can Madison Keys beat Serena Williams today?
If you look back to the Montreal match where Serena lost to Venus, Venus really targeted Serena's forehand on the return of serve. So she hit a lot of serves there, and Serena has the best backhand return in the game. So, you know, it's like when Djokovic beat Nadal 7 times in a row through 2011 to the start of 2012, including here at the Australian Open. So they went to Monte Carlo, and Rafa got him in straight sets. Rafa likes to serve down the tee in the deuce, out wide in the ad. In that final, he didn't serve one serve there. He went all the time to the forehand. So I really think for Madison to have a chance to hold serve, she must go a lot more at the forehand return of Serena, because it's just way too strong on the backhand side.
How much of it, I mean, certainly we know Serena's strengths, and Madison we're seeing really unearth at this tournament. We've been super impressed. I watched really closely the win against Kvitova, and the thing I love about Madison Keys is she walks out there with great belief, and you need that against Serena Williams. I mean, there's a fair intimidation factor there, and even at the hit-up when there's the coin toss and Serena's always waving the racket and really trying to get into the face of her opponent. I wonder how much sometimes players are already defeated before the game has started. So apart from the tactical side, that self-belief factor is massive for anyone that comes up against Serena.
Yeah, it really is. It's how you think you're going to do. Quite often it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. But there's an element of this that Madison can almost go out there and there's some part that will actually work in her favour and says, I got nothing to lose. I'm expected to lose this one. I remember coaching on centre court here in 2009 in the third round. It was with Amir Delic against Novak Djokovic. And we warmed up in the morning. I took Amir to the back of the court, sat him down in the umpire's chair, and I said, Amir, you know, Novak's going to serve 6 times in a set. I want Novak, you know, you can't possibly try and break him 6 straight times. It's not going to happen. You need to break him once. So in the other, 4 of those games, I want you to lose those 4 games to love against Novak. He's not getting rhythm. He's not getting confidence from those, but you'll be in 2 games and hopefully you break 1. So Madison's got to have a very similar, feel about her game. I've got to go for it. I'm not going to break Serena every time, but I might be able to get 1 or 2 here and there. And, that's a good way to approach playing, one of the best players in the history of the game.
And have you had a chance to crunch the numbers ahead of the men's semi-final tonight, Andy Murray and Thomas Berdych, and where do you see that sort of unfolding? How do you think that will pan out?
Yeah, Andy is leading the tournament in return games won. So Thomas has got 2 main areas. He's got a hold serve and he's got a break serve. So in the breaking serve component, Andy's serving almost 2-1 in the deuce court out wide. So I think it's like 66 first serves go out wide and around 30 down the middle. So Thomas has got to be on the out wide serve. In the ad court, Andy's favouring going down the little bit more. So he's got to shut those down. When he's serving, Andy is, I think it's 81%, Andy is winning second serve points. Excuse me, he's making second serves, returning them in. So what's going to happen there is Thomas is going to be looking for forehands as the first shot after the serve. So Thomas is almost double the amount of forehand winners that he's hitting to backhand. So we're looking for Thomas to go serve, make a lot of first serves, reduce the exposure to the second serve, and look for a forehand as that first shot after the serve. If he hits a lot of second serves and if he hits a lot of backhands, Andy's going to have him.
You go, Brad.
Well, I was going to say, psychologically, to get past Nadal, which was a big monkey on his back for Thomas, having lost the last 17, now he goes in against Murray with a better head-to-head, 6-4, and he's won his last 2 against Andy. So from a mindset point of view, I imagine Thomas with 2 days to think about it, walks out there tonight thinking, hey, I'm right in this ball game. I'm not intimidated. I've fallen short, yes, of the big guys when it's really counted at majors, but maybe there's that, and we're seeing it. It's coming through, that real sense of self-belief that his assets and his weapons can get the better of Andy Murray tonight.
Yeah. Well, an interesting dynamic in this match is Danny Valverde has switched camps.
Yeah.
He used to be with Murray. He's now Thomas's full-time coach. He had his fingerprints all over that Nadal victory.
Yep.
So if anyone is going to know how to beat Andy, it's going to be Danny. So, Thomas is going to have good information. He's won the last 2. He's playing well. There's a lot of confidence he'll bring to this semi-final.
Can anyone beat Novak Djokovic?
No. No chance.
And before we let you go, just your thoughts on the Aussies this year and how they've done.
It's been an absolute pleasure to cover them. Sam Groth is from Albury, I'm from Albury, so to see Sam come through and have an amazing tournament has just been wonderful. Thanasi Kokkinakis is an absolute star. I was on centre court at Wimbledon last year when Nick Kyrgios beat Nadal. Just after 2 games, I thought, wow, we've got some talent here. And there's other Aussies coming through as well. So it has been an absolute pleasure to spend so much time analysing and reporting on the Australians. We've got a bright future.
Yeah, terrific stuff. You can catch Craig's work on ausopen.com and also on the big screens as part of our live coverage. We'll no doubt get you back before Sunday to really analyse the finals in depth. Thank you, Craig.
My pleasure.
Craig O'Shannessy, Australian Open analyst. Will be back with more in just a moment.
Join the rally for good. The more people we get involved, the more money we raise for a good cause. Ready? Keep the rally going by posting your shot your way using hashtag #RallyForGood. Your game, your way.
Like lead. You got my shirt tails flying all over the place and the sweat rubbing out on my head. She said, hey, bossa nova, baby, keep on working for this ain't no time to quit. She said, go, bossa nova, baby, keep on dancing. I'm about to have myself a fit.
Hey, babe, don't forget the milk.
Ooh, baby, baby. Here and we're in effect. Want you to push it back. Cooling my days in at night. Working up a sweat. Come on, girl, let's go. Show the guys that we know how to control. #1 in a hot body show. Now push it.
Every Kia now comes with Australia's only 7-year unlimited kilometre warranty.
Why this watch? This watch is an icon of impossible achievement,
6 games,
grace under pressure, battles endured, champions crowned, and records broken. It doesn't just tell time, it tells history.
Franklin, pure feel good.
was definitely kind of a flashback to Wimbledon for me. Have had some problems with that part of my leg. So it was kind of an overwhelming moment, and it was kind of scary. But luckily was able to catch it before I did any real damage to it. And you know, luckily the painkillers and adrenaline in the end kind of helped me get through it.
I played well. I felt I had to. It's good to finally get past the quarterfinals or the fourth round, and you know, gosh, it's been so long.
I don't feel pressure by defending the title, because I don't come here to defend it. I come here as a new challenge, a new Grand Slam. That's how I start the tournament. I'm really happy to be already in the semi-final, to play that well so far.
So I'm gonna play Stan, who is a defending champion here, and we played 5 sets matches in 2013 and 14 in Australian Open. So I'm gonna be ready for the fight, but it never gets old being in a last four. You know, obviously people around you think that this is something that is normal from a top player to reach that final stage, and you're expected to perform well and reach semi-finals or Grand Slam. But you know, I try to enjoy every moment and work hard for you know what I have.
Yes, Novak Djokovic, certainly the hot favourite on the men's side of the draw. He'll go into battle tomorrow night, 7:30 on Rod Laver Arena against Stan Wawrinka. If it's anything like the last 2 years, strap yourself into that. It's going to be a magnificent match.
Didn't one of them finished at 2 in the morning, didn't it?
At 2, 12-10, I think.
Yeah, one went 12-10. So Novak got the one 2 years ago.
Yep.
And then Stan got him again last year.
He did indeed. That is going to be a beauty. Murray and Burdick to kick it off tonight will also be a great game. A little subtext to that one, obviously, with the former coach now in the Burdick corner and former good mate. So very interesting match tonight. But let's focus in on the girls. Ekaterina Makarova up against Maria Sharapova, both from Russia. In saying that, Maria has lived all her life really in the United States, but still under the Russian banner, of course. Second seed. She's going to take some beating. We think it's probably going to be a Williams Sharapova final, but Ekaterina Makarova has played a great tournament, Kel. She loves playing here in Australia.
She is the quiet achiever, isn't she? And she's got a great record here, made the quarters quite a few times, knocked out Serena Williams about 2 or 3 years ago here. And it took 5 quarterfinals for Makarova quarterfinals in Grand Slam events, before she had the confidence and broke through to make the semi-finals, which is a big deal to get to the final 4 of a Grand Slam event. And for Makarova, that was only a few months ago at the US Open, where she lost to Serena Williams in that semi-final. So suddenly she's got the belief. She returns to a place where she really enjoys playing, where she's had been able to cause some big upsets previously. So she'll have nothing to lose coming in against Sharapova. Never beaten her. They have played 5 times before. And Sharapova, her good's been great. But let's not forget, in the second round against her compatriot, who was a wild card, Panova, she did face 2 match points. So, you know, she was 1 point away from getting knocked out in the second round here, but she's able to scrape and fight and battle on, and we know that she really is a fighter. She is as hard as granite, Maria Sharapova. Loves a third set. If she takes Makarova to a third set, well, put your money on Sharapova, because her winning percentage in the third set is better than any other female on tour. You would expect Maria should win this one.
Well, they're both beatable today, Maria and Serena, but you've got to take your chances, because if you leave the door open, these two will come back and punish you severely. Let's hear from Ekaterina Makarova heading into today's semi-final.
Katja, congratulations on reaching your first ever semi-final here in Melbourne. What does this achievement mean to you?
Well, it means a lot. I'm so enjoying this day, this moment, and it was a great day for me. It was a tough match against Halep. She's a tough player. She's number 3 seed, and I've been playing her 2 years ago. I lost her, so today was a tough one, and I'm really happy that I was showing my best tennis and I came through.
as well as knocking out the number 3 seed, you reached the semi-final stage without dropping a set. Can you now start allowing yourself to think about the possibility of winning the tournament?
Well, it's of course it's always in our mind, and we are here to win this big present, this big trophy. And I'm really excited about the next match. And I had some experience in the US Open. I was first time in semis, so I lost against Irina. It was a tough one. At that level, it's really tough to beat her. But here I have some experience, and I think will help me.
With taking on Maria Sharapova next, she's such a tough competitor. What will you need to try to do to get the better of her?
Yeah, I need to be tried to stay on the court, to fight with her, to show my best tennis and enjoy that moment. She is a great fighter. She almost lost in the second round against another Russian girl. So I will try to show my best tennis and really waiting that day.
Katerina Makarova speaking ahead of her semi-final against Maria Sharapova, of course, coming up today, not before 1:30, and that to be followed by Serena Williams and Madison Keys. But Kelly, we go back to Maria Sharapova and her path to the semi-finals, and look, had a comfortable victory against Eugenie Bouchard. You talked about the early scare in the first week, but since then she's been rock solid, Maria, and no surprise she's getting to this stage of the tournament, which she's made quite a habit of over the years.
Well, the scary thought is that Maria Sharapova and Serena Williams have put out their best tennis in their last match, their quarterfinals, and this was absolutely ruthless by Maria Sharapova. She was all business, had the game face on, that steely look of determination, just putting mini Maria back in her box momentarily, of course, against Eugenie Bouchard. Right from the very first point, she did not allow Bouchard any rhythm, any timing. Time was taken away from Bouchard, and she could not even get involved in any of these rallies. And Maria spoke after and said she took a bit of a frosty phone call from her father, Yuri, who'd been watching her tennis, and basically said to her, if you're going to continue to play like this on tour, you might as well go home and start life, on the couch watching tennis rather than being a professional tennis player. So I think she was given a bit of a rocket by Dad, and that showed when she came out to play Bouchard.
Well, we're certainly listening when Dad
yes,
when
I
Dad
think
tells
you're probably listening,
and
yes.
Yuri was very much involved in the early part of her career and obviously helped her get over to the United States and part of the Bollettieri Academy. So it's been a long journey for Maria Sharapova. She wants to win more titles. I mean, she's won all the majors and won the French twice, but she wants to add a few more trophies while the window is still open.
If you like your numbers and your stats, Maria's got 5, as you mentioned, 1 each, and then the 2 of the French. Always wins them in the even years. She's never won a Grand Slam tournament in an odd number. So 2015 is telling us no, but who knows?
Wait and see. Let's hear from Maria as she heads into her semi-final today.
Maria, impressive from you today. How did you feel out there playing?
Yeah, I felt pretty good from the start. I thought I had a really good start, and I kept my focus throughout the whole match. I didn't feel that I had too many letdowns, which is important, and when I did have a few slips, I was able to come out with great first serves or really powerful returns, but overall really happy with the way the match went.
Seeing something a little bit similar from Nadal on the men's side, who had a scare in the second round, and now his last 2 matches worked today anyway, went pretty easily and looked much more comfortable. How do you feel the same sort of thing after that early scare relaxes you and settles you down?
I'm not sure if it has anything to do with Nadal, but yeah, I mean, we've kind of been playing either before or after each other on the schedule, so I don't know if that's something to do with it. But of course, when you're down and out like I was in the second match, it's like, I don't want to face that phone call with my father too many times during a tournament. So it was like, I better get my stuff together. So yeah, it was important to change some things around and just to come out with a little bit of a different perspective and play a bit better. So I'm happy I was able to do that.
What did he say to you?
Well, in a nice version, it was like, this is unacceptable. He's like, it is much easier just having a normal home life. You should try it if you really, I don't know why you're suffering out there for nothing, so, make it easier for yourself.
You think you're suffering for nothing?
Well, he told me that I was working much harder than I had to. If I was maybe a little bit smarter, did a few things a little differently, maybe it could have been easier.
Maria, do you ever want to tell him that you're not a tennis player?
Excuse me?
Do you ever want to tell him, like, you're not a tennis player, you don't understand that these things happen?
No, I actually think he's absolutely right. Deep down inside, I think, sometimes it's encouraging to hear that because no one will tell you that. I like to hear that. I like coming off the court and hearing how it is. That's what I appreciate from my team and Sven, especially as, he's critical, but in a great way. I mean, I'm in a point in my career, I've gone through a few different coaches. I like real people and honesty. I appreciate that very much. I don't need to go around the corners and telling me, you're great and you'll improve in the next one. Like, if you played a terrible match, you played a terrible match. Go out there, go practice, go do whatever it takes to change things around because you're not going to win this tournament that way.
Maria Sharapova, always interesting to listen to Maria. Not too many more players that are in the zone like Maria. Unbelievable. Game face, and we see her off-court side. When it comes to the game itself, her and Serena, they get in the zone, and that's what has separated them for so long at the top end.
And still so hungry at 27, won her first Grand Slam when she was just 16 at Wimbledon. So 10 years on, it's just a grueling tour, as we know, and a tough sport to play. But it's sport is better off and the winner because Maria and Serena are still determined and hungry.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Goran Ivanisevic, one of the legends here, of course, he's charged Marin Cilic didn't get to play after winning the US Open last year, but Goran has stuck around for the 2 weeks. He's having a good time, and he's jumped in to the Kia Open Drive.
You were a king of the aces. What is your secret? I can't tell you that. This is my secret. So if I share with you, then it's no more secret. Sorry. What do I miss about my playing days? I miss hitting aces. It's good to hit aces. I love hitting aces. Just see guys walking there and being upset me hitting aces. That's good. It's cool. You used to have on-court tantrums. What was that about? Me? No, that was not me. I think you made a mistake. I never actually yell at the umpire. I just told him some interesting words. Can you throw a tantrum now? On the court you don't think sometimes, Now it's different. I can't be upset when I'm not upset, That's the point. Who was your tennis hero growing up? John McEnroe. He's a professor of craziness. Give us your best Aussie accent. Good day, mate. Aussie is for me the best accent. It's pretty sexy, actually. I like it. You're known for your tennis. Tell us something we don't know about you. I'm pretty shy person, I don't like to talk a lot. Actually, I could go for a week not speaking to anybody if nobody asks me a question. I don't know, is that good or bad, but still. I would like to say, I was saying before, it's 3 Gorans. Good one, bad one, and emergency one. So now we put everything in one. Peaceful Goran. Tantrum peaceful. Yoga Goran. What's the most embarrassing thing that happened to you on the tour? Wow. Probably 2000 in Brighton when in my second round, 2-1 in the third set when I ran out of the racket. Never happened in the history of tennis. I have to stop the match because I broke all my rackets and didn't have any more rackets. Good on you, Goran, mate! That must be idiotic thing. So kids, don't do that at all. Ever. Have more rackets so you can break the ball. What is my nickname? Crazy Goran, yeah. Crazy, look at this.
It's amazing the amount of data the Australian Open generates. Every photo posted, every ticket bought, every ball that's hit. The analytics help us gain insight into millions of data points to make better decisions and provide better services. Ultimately, every fan, every player, every partner has a better experience, which makes the Australian Open a better event.
Tina looks like she's in need of something refreshing.
Canadian Club and Dry, thanks.
I knew it. Bring on the sexy person. Canadian Club. Tastes refreshing, like a snowball in your face from a sexy person.
Woolworths is proud as a peach to support fresh talent everywhere, especially our Woolworths Ball Kids. Woolworths, feeding fresh talent.
With ANZ Tennis Hotshots, your kids will be burning energy on court and rallying with their friends from the moment they can swing a racket. Balls, courts and rackets are kid-sized, making it easy for them to rally and score from the very start. They'll be so busy having fun, their learning skills for life. Visit hotshots.tennis.com.au and sign your kids up today.
Jacobs Creek. We're made by here. This valley with all its charms and challenges. Made by the sun that makes or breaks our hearts. By early starts, late night obsessions and wild ideas. Made by over 160 years of doing what we love. Birthed from the land, shaped by the people, inspired by the continent, made by Australia. Jacobs Creek, made true.
So we look forward to the semi-finals today at Melbourne Park, the Australian Open 2015, and we have John Fitzgerald with me, a legend of the sport and one of the best commentators going around, in my opinion now anyway. First match up, Maria Sharapova, Katerina Makarova, head-to-head 5-zip to Sharapova, but both players are playing well at the moment.
Look, they are. Look, the 5-0 lead is substantial, isn't it? And that always plays, I think, in the back of a player's mind. But Ekaterina is probably playing the best tennis of her life. Semi-final last year at the US Open, and she's won easily here. And to beat Simona Halep in straight sets, one of them was 6-love, the last set, is no mean feat. So I would suspect that it's going to be closer than in previous outings, but you can't bet against Maria today. In my mind, she's one of the two from the start of the tournament that probably was the realistic chance to go all the way. She's a great player. She's been there so many times before. She's the favourite for me.
If you were Katerina Makarova's coach, what would your advice be playing Maria Sharapova? You probably need to attack a little bit, maybe move her around the court?
I think you have to, because as soon as Maria has a chance to attack, she goes after it. So she's always got you on the back foot. If you're playing her and if you make her defend, you've got a better chance than letting her attack against you.
And we look forward to the second semi-final as well today. Madison Keys, the young American, taking on Serena Williams, the older American. I mean, it's a mouth-watering matchup, really, for Americans, but for everyone as well.
Yeah, look, it's wonderful to see a young American coming through like Madison. Gee, she's a talent and a beautiful striker of the ball. It's really interesting to see a 19-year-old who can hit the ball that cleanly with that much power. So she's a player of the future, no doubt. But she's 19. You know, when they're 19 and they get through to a semi-final, there's a certain amount of achievement, I think, that's in their mind, and then it's hard to focus again. You've got to come up again, and this time she plays one of the greatest players in history. So. Look, it's one thing to beat one sister, but to back it up and beat Serena, the higher-ranked legend, is another. So I suspect that Serena will win, and for me, when she plays at her best, she is the best player. So if she brings her best tennis to the table, she'll win the tournament.
So they're the two semi-finals coming up. Just finally, can I get a tip? It sounds like you're leaning towards Maria and Serena. If you are, who's going to win that one?
Do you call it sitting on the fence, do you, when you go for the favourites? No, look, for me, they're the best two players in the draw at the moment. I think they'll play off in the final, and if Serena plays her best tennis, she's been the best player over the last decade.
Thank you for your time, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, Adrian. Out and about with John Fitzgerald. You can catch John and all the team, of course, on Channel 7 for the remainder of the tournament. Some words of wisdom there from Fitzy. You've mentioned 1v2 as the likely final. They are the two best. It's going to take something pretty extraordinary from both Makarova and Keys today.
Well, Fitzy just mentioned then right at the end, if Serena plays her best tennis, and that's probably the one question mark, because we've seen that Serena has a tendency, particularly just... It's crept into her game late, like in the last year or so, that she can implode on any given day. And certainly I think she comes into every tournament with so much pressure. She certainly doesn't show it, but you can tell she feels it because she's still in the game, because she's chasing these records. And she certainly tightened up when she was going to equal that Grand Slam record number 18 of Kristeva and Martina Navratilova. Now, she's 2 wins away from passing them and claiming her 19th Grand Slam title. That plays on her mind, and that is a lot of pressure, and that is a lot of history sitting on those very broad shoulders. And maybe that's where Madison Keys can maybe niggle and get under her skin, and you just never ever know what can happen. But on her day, Fitzy's right. Serena is unbeatable. This match, this semi-final match, is on Serena's racket.
Yeah, no doubt about that. I mean, Madison Keys has got firepower. And I mean, we always talk about the fact that Serena's opponents have got to move her around. Because as soon as you start moving Serena, she looks a bit uncomfortable. And you start, jamming some serves into her body, get her stretching and lunging on both wings a bit, rather than, if you're going to hit straight up and down with Serena, she's going to be able to increase the angle and come up with a winner.
Well, she'll just dictate, won't she? So you can't go toe-to-toe with her. But, Madison Keys, she's got one of the best minds in the business. Lindsay Davenport would be in the locker room now, just chatting to her, because we're only hours away from the semi-finals in the women's draw, down to the final 4, and they should be 2 fascinating ones: the All-American blockbuster, and of course, first of all, the All-Russian affair.
Yeah, going to be magnificent. Let's get more of an insight into Serena and Madison. They'll go toe-to-toe this afternoon.
All of us have dealt with injuries before, and it's one of those things where it's probably going to hurt. I'm probably going to have tape on it, but just going to do my absolute best and enjoy the moment.
She's playing great. I told her I was really happy that she did well, and it's good to see another African American in the semifinals playing so well.
I have to go out and I have to do my best, and I have to just really stay focused on my side of the court, because she's obviously very, very good and she's going to play very well. So if I get too focused on what she's doing, I think I can kind of let the moment get away from me. So just really going to stay focused on myself.
Regardless, there's going to be American in the finals, so that is great. And it also is great for both me and Venus, because we know that finally there's other Americans that are constantly playing well and playing better and showing that they want to be the world's greatest.
Why this watch? This watch is an icon of impossible achievement, grace under pressure, battles endured, champions crowned, and records broken.
An absolutely unique person in the history of the game.
It doesn't just tell time, it tells history.
On court with the world's best tennis players? Well, here's your chance to be an official. Applications are now open for the Australian Open and the Emirates Australian Open Series, including Brisbane, Sydney, Perth, Adelaide and Hobart. It's your chance to kickstart your tennis career. Visit tennis.com.au/officials now to find out more.
Well, the Hot Shots program, a huge part, of course, grassroots tennis here in Australia. Leighton Hewitt playing his part as all the Australian players do.
Indeed, and always first through. Even before the gates are opened every morning, we've seen the Hot Shots kids. So they're setting the alarm early on school holidays, making the effort, a lot of them coming down from regional Victoria and taking part. And, you know, it's great to see them. We saw some vision the other day of one of Sam Groth's matches, you know, the coin toss and then shaking hands with Sam Groth. So big highlight for all the youngsters and good to see.
Speaking of the kids, Disney at the Australian Open, that kicks off tomorrow, 2 o'clock at Hisense Arena. So if you've got your Grand Pass, you can get into Hisense Friday, Saturday and Sunday.
So they've cleared out the tennis court and they've Disney has officially moved in the house.
Okay, you're all across Disney?
Love Disney.
Rightio. There you go. That's it, folks. So get a look at that if you're coming into the tennis, Friday, Saturday and Sunday. And guess who's in town today?
Well, just before we get to that, but there is Frozen, the ice rink. So if you're a fan, obviously you can get along and check out Frozen. Tinkerbell's there. Toy Story, love Toy Story. You would have seen Toy Story.
Think so, yep.
And Lightning McQueen, that would probably be your favourite. But if you do like the Disney, then check out Hisense from tomorrow.
And guess who's in town today? There's some big names in the President's Reserve today.
We've seen all the VIPs,
and
actors,
tonight.
everything,
Kenny Rogers.
The Kenny Rogers.
Kenny Rogers is in town. You were singing a couple of his songs earlier.
I don't mind Kenny Rogers. The evening session, the VIPs tonight. Roy Emerson, Neil Fraser, Rod Laver, Ken Rosewall, Frank Sedgman, Fred Stolley and Kenny Rogers.
Now I'm told could play the game.
Really?
Back in his
tennis
day.
fan?
Very keen tennis fan, but could play as well. There you go. We might try and get him on tomorrow. Kenny Rogers in town, a break. Back with more in just a moment.
The Kia Cerato has surprised many of Australia's leading journalists since its launch. Paul Gover from Cars Guide said the Cerato hatch is the new Kia we've been waiting for and another surefire winner. And Tim Weissman from caradvice.com.au said the all-new Cerato is packed with the latest technology. The Kia Cerato hatch. It surprised the motoring experts. And with Australia's only 7-year unlimited kilometre factory warranty, it will surprise you too.
Join the rally for good. The more people we get involved, the more money we raise for a good cause. Ready? Keep the rally going by posting your shot, your way, using hashtag #RallyForGood. Your game, your way.
We are all made by something. People, places, and passions help shape us into who we are.
The biggest fight I had in my life was actually the fight within.
Novak Djokovic, birthed from Serbia, shaped by Yelena, inspired by dreams, made by determination. Jacobs Creek, made true.
Why this watch? This watch has witnessed the magic of Melbourne, the promise of a new season and a Grand Slam's most ardent fans. It's seen a national hero become a legend. The epic endured. And a 4-time champion crowned. It doesn't just tell time, it tells history.
Optus called me up and they said, hey, would you like to be in a commercial that talks about the word yes? They said it's about how we're going to be saying a lot more of it. Can I come up with some stuff? And they said yes. And I said I want it on a tropical beach. And they said yes. Gigantic kitten. I want to dance with some beautiful people. And they said yes. Let's shoot it in Antarctica. And they said yes. Fireworks, skydiving Elizabethans, a muffin. And I said what? All of this in the one earth? And they said yes.
Pure feel good.
Here we go.
Welcome back. Our big screens here at Melbourne Park, and for those watching online all over the globe, we're building up to semi-final day. The girls, of course, are coming up not before 1:30 Melbourne time, and then of course tonight Andy Murray and Thomas Burdick going to be a beauty. Let's have a chat to our next guest, Cal, Chris Cleary from the New York Times. He's been to many Australian Opens. Good to see you, Chris.
Good to be here.
How many, in fact?
Sorry?
How many Australian Opens?
You know, I never really counted. I came in 1993 the first time. So that tells you it's been a while.
93, Sellers beat Steffi Graf in a final there.
That's exactly right. It was a great era in women's tennis. And Jim Courier won. Jumped in the Yara again, I think. That tells you how much he had going on upstairs, right? Yeah. Becky went in again. And this place was 1/3 or half the size. And I have to be honest, the food in Melbourne wasn't that good. And now everything's changed.
Yeah.
The city is so cosmopolitan, and the tournament is going gangbusters, as we say in the States.
You wrote a terrific profile on Nick Kyrgios for the New York Times going back yesterday or the day before. So I think many people out there wouldn't realise that Nick Kyrgios is clearly stealing the headlines here in Melbourne and Australia. But he's making news worldwide. People are interested in America about Nick Kyrgios.
This is a global event, as you all know, very much so. The 4 slams get a lot of attention in my paper, the New York Times, because it's international in focus, and also because we got a big one in our city as well with the U.S. Open. And anytime a new player emerges in men's tennis, especially right now, because it's been so tough to get through at the top, hasn't it? That's going to create some interest. And whenever he has an impact in 2 slams like he has with Wimbledon, and now it's going to make the impact even bigger. And you know, he's the real deal. I'll be really curious to watch how his composure and his behavior evolves over the years and how that affects his play, because he gets a lot of spark and energy from that little mongrel in him, as you say down here, right?
Yeah. Where do you sit on that whole debate? Is he just confident or is he too cocky? Do you think he steps over the line at this point in time, or is it just all the colour, the flamboyance, that great magnetism, just brilliant for the sport?
You know, for me, he steps over the line a little bit. Sure, he does. But it's okay. He's 19 years old. What you can't have is, you know, really, really bad language constantly through a match. And a couple of the matches that I've seen, that's what I've heard. And that's tough. You got kids in the audience. You got people watching on television. So you got to control that. But I don't mind a little racket smash now and again. I think it's good, and I think it's good to have characters. And to be honest, what we've seen the last 7-8 years in men's tennis is pretty exceptional, to see all this great behavior and very civil back and forth among the top players. So I think it's pretty refreshing to see a guy, you know, with that kind of energy, and he's different, and it's good to see.
Chris, we were just talking off here. You've written a piece on John McEnroe, you were saying. So you've seen it, you know, the young, brash man coming onto the scene, and he's still got that, you know, competitive nature about him, John. Whether he's playing marbles or playing tennis, he hates to lose. He's still got that fiery character. But you've written a piece on him. Tell us a bit about that.
Well, it's just interesting timing, isn't it, in a way, because, you know, 25 years ago, McEnroe's only default of his whole career, which is, I think, surprising to people. Only once in his whole tempestuous career was he ever actually thrown out of a tournament. It was here in the quarters, you know, basically 25 years ago to the day. And we talked about it, and, you know, it's interesting. You know, he looks back on it now, and I think he feels the game has lost something. He's admitting he should have behaved better, and he also used some horrible language that day, which is the reason why he got defaulted. And he would have actually gotten defaulted no matter what, for the one thing he said. But I think he feels like the game is lacking a little bit of that back and forth among the umpires and the officials and the players, and he thinks it would be more interesting for the average person, maybe not the tennis hardcore fan, but the average sports fan, if that was back in play a bit.
And what we're left with in the men's draw now are 4 gentlemen, really, of the sport, model citizens. Andy Murray's obviously had a little bit of history, but tonight Andy Murray and Thomas Berdych, and then tomorrow night, of course, Novak Djokovic against Stan Wawrinka. How do you see these 2 semis unfolding?
Well, they aren't the purest gentlemen of the gentlemen, I would say, in some respects. But, I mean, Murray, as we all know, was a pretty fiery guy when he was young. Still has it in him. You can hear it once in a while in a match. And I've seen Stan break a few rackets in his time, too. Big, strong guy. But they're good matchups. I think they're very fair matchups, reflective of what's going on in men's tennis. That you see the top guys, a few of them are still very, very strong. And then you see that next tier. Stan did it last year here, and really has done it over 5 of the last 6 slams, frankly. And then you see a guy like Berdych, who's seen what the top is. He knows what it takes to get there, a better coaching, a change of some sort. He's tried to implement that. So you see these guys trying to upgrade who have great talent. And Berdych is an amazing ball striker, easy power. These guys have all kind of pushed themselves a little bit in the off-season, and now you're seeing their result. So it's a little surprising, but not that surprising.
Chris, a lot of interest with Serena Williams taking on Madison Keys. From an American point of view, it'll be going into TV lounge rooms a pretty decent time on a Wednesday night over in the US. Give us your take on, you know, 2 girls at the opposite ends of the spectrum. What's the American take on it?
Well, I'm sure, to be honest, that ESPN would prefer to have that matchup first, frankly, because it would give them a little bit more prime moment. They're pretty late in the States for the match, which is, in a way, a pity, because it's rare for us to get a women's player like that. I think really has potential to win slams. Although we did have Sloane Stephens a couple years ago who came through. But Madison's a little bit different because she's got power from everywhere and really can hurt you from anywhere on the court, pretty much any shot. And that's pretty rare.
We were saying earlier that it seems like it's hard to earn the respect of the Williams sisters on tour, but does Madison have that respect? Give us an insight into that relationship that the Williams sisters have with her. I know Serena's never played her before, though.
I mean, as it is in Australia, I think tennis in my country is a pretty small world. So when a player like that, a talent emerges, and she's been in Florida at the Everett Academy, represented by IMG, which is, you know, obviously the big agency, and working with their top agent, a guy named Max Eisenbud, who represents Maria Sharapova and Li Na. So she's been targeted for a long time. So of course the Williamses know about her, and they've spoken, you know, almost consistently through the years about her in very glowing terms. They know she's good, and she's been a bit fragile in her head. I think she's had moments where she doesn't really believe. She's a very nice girl. Really, you talk to her, a terrific person, and very humble, frankly, which is surprising considering the world she's grown up in. And so I think she needed a little time to believe that she could do it, much like Lindsay Davenport, who was her coach, was sort of the same situation.
Well, we're enjoying her ride. May it continue. I think it'd be great to have a 19-year-old in the final of the Australian Open. Thank you, Chris. Appreciate your insights.
Great to be here.
Chris Cleary from the New York Times. Before we get to Serena and Madison this afternoon, it's the all-Russian affair in the first of the women's semi-finals.
G'day, it's Craig O'Shaughnessy, the lead strategy analyst here at the 2015 Australian Open. We have a mouth-watering semi-final coming up between Ekaterina Makarova and Maria Sharapova. Both ladies are leading the tournament so far in service games won. Makarova at 86%, Sharapova at 85%. They will be heavily relying on their serves in this big semi-final match. Hawkeye graphics show the hidden patterns leading into this match for both Makarova and Sharapova. Sharapova's first serve direction in the deuce court is primarily out wide. She's hit 50% of her first serves there, and even though Makarova has an outstanding backhand return, Maria still likes that pattern, still look for her to serve there. In the ad court, Maria's going 66% down the middle, and again, that's going to be curving away from the left-hander. It's a pattern that Maria will absolutely rely on to do well in this semi-final. Makarova's first serve average is 163 kilometers per hour. That is a little bit higher than Sharapova's at 155. As a lefty, Makarova likes to serve down the tee in the deuce court. In fact, she serves 65% of her first serves there so far in the tournament. She's mixing 25% out wide as a surprise and about 10% of the time going right at the body. You would expect Makarova to go wide a lot in the ad court, but in fact, it's almost dead even. 38% out wide with the big lefty can opener, but also 37% down the middle and 25% at the body. Expect Makarova to keep Sharapova guessing with another wonderful serve mix performance in the semi-final. I was extremely impressed with Makarova beating Victoria Azarenka at the 2014 US Open. I sat courtside. It was one of the first times I've got to see her that close. Her backhand was unbelievable. She hits it so flat, she hits it so hard, and the real key is attacking Sharapova's forehand and trying to rush it. Maria is an incredible competitor. She's going to do very well out there, and she's going to probably try and break down the Makarova forehand, pulling her wide. I expect Sharapova to get through this, but it's not going to be easy.
Semi-final day, not too far away, and Ekaterina Makarova and Maria Sharapova to kick it all off. Let's welcome in the voice, Craig Willis, to officially tell us what is in store on day 11. Craig.
Well, thank you, Brett, and good morning on this Thursday, the 29th of January, and welcome to the Australian Open, brought to you by Kia Motors in association with ANZ Jacobs Creek and Rolex. Women's semi-final day, as we've heard, on RLA. Prior to those matches, we have a terrific men's doubles match starting in a few minutes' time. And then not before 1:30, Ekaterina Makarova meets with number 2 seed Maria Sharapova in an all-Russian affair for a place in Saturday night's final. And following that match, Madison Keys takes on the top seed and world number 1 Serena Williams in an all-American semi-final. And at stake a place on RLA in the final. Now, Margaret Court Arena, we have some great doubles action in men's, women's and mixed doubles, and your ground pass will admit you to MCA today to see some of the greatest doubles players in the world in action. On the show courts, the Australian Open Junior Championship continues, as does the Wheelchair Championships. The Wheelies tournament is fantastic to watch, and it has brought the best wheelchair tennis players to Melbourne to take part in their first Grand Slam of 2015. Little cooler, but the UV index is extreme today, so watch out when the cloud dissipates and the sun comes out. Be sun smart. Get closer to the action here at the Australian Open on day 11.
Thank you, Craig. Craig Willis, now it is official. Cal, the day can get started. A break. Back with more in just a moment.
At Medibank, we've made getting to the gym a little bit easier by rolling 3 major gym memberships into one. Gym Better gives you access to Fitness First, Anytime Fitness and Good Life Health Club networks nationwide for just $8.50 a visit. With no contracts and no joining fees, a Medibank membership is the only gym membership you'll need. Changing the way we go to the gym, all part of Generation Better. Call or search Medibank today.
Hello tomorrow.
Game, set, Maxis.
No, he said son of...
Oxbridge. I just do what I do. See me? I just do what I do. Man, I just do what I do. Don't know about you. I just do what I do. Check. That's the intro. See that? Yeah. I just do what I do. See me? I just do what I do. Yo, check. Let me flip this script. I feel privileged for all who can witness this. I am close to divine. Know the moment is mine, need no omen or sign. Oxbridge. Providing a back sound to all the squares that ask around. We getting it. My skills pay me. Trying to get a million, baby, with an adopted flow that God gave me. Nino. Tell whoever runners that they spot is temporary till I take it, it's mine. I'm selfish. Yo, will. Tell Miss I'm on my wealth tip. So when we cash out soon, I'm just investing. No yes men. I've been a legend since before mom and dad had me and was best friends. I chew through comp, don't test them. I chew on tracks, cause after that I bless them.
Welcome back to Melbourne Park. The reason Kelly and I was having a little chuckle is we were listening to some Kenny Rogers during the break, and he's here.
He's in the house tonight. How good is Kenny Rogers? Islands in the Street. or Gambler. I was just going to ask you which song you like better. Hey, Disney's on. Right.
Anyway, it's good to have Kenny here. I can't even talk now. Why hasn't he got an MBE next to his name, Kelly?
I'm not sure. Disney's on tomorrow.
Tell me what's happening. Disney is on tomorrow. Disney at the Australian Open. Friday, Saturday. Apologies, ladies and gentlemen. Friday, Saturday and Sunday. If you've got a ground pass, you can get in and see Disney at the Australian Open. The fans are in on RLA. We're not too far away from the action because we've got men's doubles to kick off the day, and then, of course, the women's semi-final action from 1:30, Kel. Come on, Kelly, straight
And we
up.
start with the all-Russian affair between Katerina Makarova and Maria Sharapova. So the fans getting there already, ready to roll. And then it's the American blockbuster Serena Williams, the top seed, the American, against the young gun, the rising star from America, Madison Keys. Of course, Keys unseeded. She's the only unseeded player left in the four, the world number 35 against Serena. And of course, Williams, well, she's been pushed to 2-3 setters so far, but really made a statement in that quarterfinal win over Cibulkova. And every time Serena's played a semi-final here, at the Aussie Open, she has won the title. So ominous signs there for Serena Williams.
No doubt about that. Thomas Burdick, Andy Murray tonight, going to be a great match, 7:30. So if you're here for the day, you've got the Grand Pass, stick around. If you haven't got tickets to Rod Laver Arena, you can watch it from Garden Square, Grand Slam Oval. That is going to be a quality men's semi-final. And then stick around because the legends will be in action later today. Henri Leconte and Mark Philippoussis up against Jonas Bjorkman and Pat Cash. So there's a bit for everyone, but we must make mention, we talked to Mark Edney right off the top of the show, a couple of Australian juniors, because you only have to rewind 2 years ago. It was Nick Kyrgios, it was Thanasi Kokkinakis on the outside courts, and then they played a final, the boys singles on Rod Laver Arena. 2 Australian boys, Mark Polmans and Akira Sandilands, will be playing on show court number 3. So if you're just making your way through the gates, they're about to get underway. Polmans first up, and then Sandilands looking for a spot in the semi-finals of the boys singles. So get out and take a look at the 2 guys. Maria Sharapova, of course, Kelly, with her team. It's a very tight-knit team. And, well, it's getting down to business for Maria today.
It certainly is, and she's got the game face on, ready to roll. So she's just heading out now to one of the practice courts, get out and around the precinct. You might be able to see Maria Sharapova hit a tennis ball or 2 as she prepares for the semi-final. Of course, not before 1:30 on Rod Laver Arena. So a huge schedule coming your way. It's day 11. We're expecting a maximum of about 24 degrees. So perfect conditions for tennis once again, and everyone out and about on the precinct enjoying themselves, including on the giant screen. So a lot to like about day 11. We had nearly 35,000 through the gates yesterday, expecting more than 30,000 to roll through the gates again here today.
Absolutely. Not too far away from the action. Men's semi-final action. The 2 Italians, Fabio Fognini and Simon Bolelli, up against Jean-Julien Roger. He's from the Netherlands and he's Romanian partner in Horea Takau. And the boys are about to make their way past the Wall of Champions. Kelly, semi-final day. We're starting to really sort the draw out now. Looking forward to the women first, and then, of course, Thomas Burdick and Andy Murray tonight.
We certainly are, and enjoy Kenny Rogers later this evening. He'll be in the house, Rod Laver Arena.
Can't wait for Kenny. He'll be there, along with all the big names in the President's Reserve. Enjoy the tennis, everyone. We'll be back with updates right throughout the day here on semi-final day.
Ladies and gentlemen, would you welcome for men's doubles from Italy, Simone Bolelli and Fabio Fognini. Their opponents from the Netherlands, Jean-Julien Roger, and from Romania, Horea Takau. Folks, also joining us today on centre court from the Top 10 Tennis Academy is young Darcy Albert. He's from Melbourne, Camberwell, and Darcy's got our terror player. And he's going to have a photo taken with 4 players in the next finals. He's going to toss the coin to decide the choice of ends. So let's make young Darcy Albert from Melbourne very welcome indeed. A great moment for the young fellow to be able to toss the coin and meet with the players here on centre court.
So this is Darcy. He's gonna help us. Fabio and Simone.
Ciao. Hi. Who are you? Come si chiama?
Darcy.
Darcy. Where are you from? Melbourne. Melbourne. Where do you live?
The street. He's a good tennis player, that's what I've been told. And we have Jean-Julien and Oria as well. We have Darcy to help us out. So, quickly about the match. Same as in the previous rounds, traditional scoring, 3 tiebreak sets, Hawkeye and net device. As usual, be prompt and challenging. You can say it out loud, that's gonna help, okay? Any questions? Go ahead, Darcy. Well, we need to ask first. We replay. Whom do you want to ask?
Fabio.
Heads. Here we go. Heads it is. Receive. Here. Okay, go for a picture. 1 second, guys. Over there. Hey, Darcy. Right side. Looking. No, look there. Look there. Thank you, guys.
Well done, young Darcy. He's had a great time out there. Thank you to the players as well for their cooperation. It's just terrific for the young tennis players here in Australia to be able to take part in the coin toss and meet with the players. Well, Simone Bolelli and Fabio Fognini have won 2 ATP World Tour titles together in Buenos Aires and Umag in Croatia. And together they've been finalists in Acapulco and also in Moscow. Simone has now won 3 doubles titles and Fabio has 2 titles to his credit. Ladies and gentlemen, on centre court in the men's doubles from Italy, let's welcome Simone Bolelli and Fabio Fognini. Well, Jean-Julien Roger and Henrietta Cow won 8 doubles titles last year on the ATP World Tour. They had tournament wins in Valencia, in Beijing, Shenzhen, Washington, in the Netherlands, in Bucharest, Casablanca and Zagreb. Jean-Julien has now won 17 doubles titles. Henrietta has now collected 24 double tournament wins. Already in 2015, this pair have been finalists in Sydney on Ken Rosewall Arena. They're the 6th seeds here in Melbourne in 2015. From the Netherlands, let's welcome Jean-Julien Rocher, and from Romania, Henrietta Cow. Out on this fighting up Thursday here on centre court. In the chair for this men's doubles encounter from Spain, we welcome Felix Torralba.
3 minutes. 2 minutes. One minute. Ladies and gentlemen, this match will be the best of 3 tiebreak sets. Simone Bolelli, Fabio Fognini won the toss, chose to receive. Time. Gentlemen, get ready to play.
Acqua già.